and extension messaging. When we are talking to the farmers, can we tell them there is also this? And this is how it works. We have organic fertilizers. We have regenerative practices that we can adopt. So that information needs to trickle down to the farmers. Then the other one, we cannot overemphasize enough, increase government support for organic fertilizers, research, development, access, as well as subsidies. Access means that, that last mile distribution. If the fertilizer is at NCPB, that is not last mile distribution. How many NCPBs do we have per county? 1. So inamaanisha mkulima mwenye ako ndani kabisa, even to access the inorganic fertilizers that are subsidized, lazima agaramike kweli kufika where the inorganic fertilizers are. So we're saying, can we have mechanisms that can bring these fertilizers, both organic and inorganic, closer to the people? Research is not easy, but we are not telling the government to support the SMEs by giving them cash. But can they have mechanisms that makes it easier for them to develop products, supportive policies? The other one is to strengthen farmer groups as organized networks for information dissemination. I think someone mentioned here, and if we look at the health sector, it is very well organized. We even have they're called CHIWs. No, after CHIWs there is community health promoters, CHVs or CHPs. We have them. I don't know they manage how many households. 100. At least 100, eh? And this one's, it's a system entrenched within the health system of this government of Kenya. So why don't we have similar entrenched within the agricultural system, so that we have people down there, like we have now here, the RA champions and the facilitators, that can be supported in whatever form, in whatever way, to be able to reach to the farmers. And that is how we are going to spur agricultural potential or production within our systems. And then the last one is to enhance the capacity of the extension system for RA dissemination. We have our, whether they are scouts, whether they are wows, or we end at wow, at ward, eh? So these people, we need, these are officers, and some of them may not have had an opportunity to interact with SNV, to interact with the soccer, to interact with the GLUC, to know what is happening. So we are calling for a situation where the government can even have a retooling workshop for these people, so that they know what is happening, and we have to change how we have also been communicating. So because someone talked about some very nice flowers, I like ending my presentation at this very page, because these were photos taken from one of the research farms, one research farm, but the other farm they planted maize. And maize, all grasses anyway, are friends of striga. So if you have maize, you have sorghum, these grasses, you'll also be calling this to start germinating. So what happened is that they had told us that in that farm they do not plant maize because of striga. But one of the seasons when we had some organic fertilizer that remained, so they said they can use it to plant maize. So they planted maize. This is it. They planted this maize. But then there was also another research that was going on. So they had also, I don't know what it is that they used, but they also planted maize. So one side is maize with the inorganic fertilizers, with the organic fertilizers that were left, and then the other side is this. And that is exactly what came out. Where we used the organic fertilizers, you can not even a single striga. We went through the field, not even a single striga had germinated. But this other side, this is the crop. They didn't harvest even a single cob. So what are we saying as we conclude? That regenerative agricultural practices or technologies actually works. If you go to Kakamega today, in fact, on your way from Kisumu to Kakamega, through Sabatia, you'll be surprised by the number of farms that are like this. While these flowers are beautiful, they are just in the wrong place. So the Lord bless you. That comes to the end.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for your presentation. Yes, we are coming to that session of open discussion. So we'll change the program slightly to allow us have more time to interact and have more time for questions, all those burning questions that were there during the morning hours, and also contributions towards the session are quite critical. I'm picking some points that we had from morning up to now, just 3 points. Issues around policymakers, I think that cannot be overemphasized. I think that's something we need to really having policymakers to take action to ensure that we have our favorable environment where regenerative agriculture can actually thrive, and that is in all counties. We've heard from Kakamega County, especially how they are working. I think that's a model that most counties can borrow. You can borrow, but adapt it to your situation. It might not work exactly as Kakamega. Try and figure out how it works for your county. Then we also have the Climate Smart Agriculture Multi-Stakeholder Platform. We need more resources, more partners. We are just finishing phase one, phase one, so phase two. Maybe that's where we need to now have more actions. We should have a room full of farmers, maybe not even have a meeting here, but somewhere in a stadium, uko mashinani, sindio? Then RA works, it works, you've seen that. It has many names, today I've heard. They just change it a little bit. Today it's agroecology, tomorrow it is conservation agriculture. The next day they are talking about how our forefathers used to move from one field to another. So it has many names and many activities, but it's all regenerative agriculture. So with that, let's try to promote it and empower our farmers, our children, everybody within our networks to actually learn about this. So for this next session, it will be an open forum. And in our midst, we are lucky to have the CEO of Fertilizer Association of Kenya, Dr. Lilian Wanjiru-Mbuthia. So I will have her, I'll put her on the spot. So you've heard she's from FAK. So ask all those questions you had in the morning about fertilizer. So I want to put her on the spot today, talking about integrated soil fertility management. What's her view around that? We've seen presentation around liming. We've just had liming, using organic matter, using inorganic fertilizer, versus using organic versus integrated.
Good afternoon, everybody. I was hidden there. I was hoping I was not going. I'm Dr. Lilian Wanjiru. I'm a soil scientist by training. I have a passion for soil health. And so when she asked me to comment what's my view on integrated soil fertility management, it's because she knows what my views are. So integrated soil fertility management is very, very important. And I usually tell farmers where we have reached, it's because of us not taking care of our soils. I come from Kitale, same as Nekesa. I grew up what grows best in Kitale? Maize. So initially we would produce easily 7 to 8 tons of maize per hectare. That's about 40 to 42 bags. I don't know whether there's anybody here from Kitale, but Uasin Gishu, maybe you can confirm. It was very easy. As we were growing up, our stores used to be very full of maize, yes. But as we came along, right now, the same areas, Uasin Gishu, Kitale, how much do you get? Getting even 20 bags is very hard. True? Now, we've had a lot of confusion where we blame one thing, DAP. Every forum I go, I hear, oh, DAP is spoiling our soils. And I usually want to clarify that, because it's not DAP alone spoiling our soils, and I'm glad from the presentation, it's not DAP alone. It's us not managing our soils well. Because when we are putting DAP, we used to put what? Kitambo, 1 bag, DAP, 1 bag, Csa and top dressing. But the nutrients we are putting and what we are removing is more. So not necessarily, it's because we are removing more than what we are putting. And then tunafanya nini, tunachoma nini? Masagari. So we are removing, na yenye hatuchomi tunapea ng'ombe. So I think where we are right now when we're talking about integrated soil fertility management, it's a very good conversation. And we need to be balanced. Let's not take farmers and tell them, I like what he said, integrated soil fertility management. Integrate both organic and inorganic, because the inorganic plays a part and the organic plays a part. She started very well by showing the components of soil: chemical, biological, and physical. Now, when we talk about where our soils are in terms of acidity, it's because of nutrient removal, it's because of the leaching, and our areas where, she showed the map, our areas where we have high acidity also have high rainfall, which means we also have watching, and they're the areas that were very productive. So high nutrient removal. Sindio? So it's a lot of things. It's not only DAP. That's one of the things I would want us to understand. So when we criminalize one aspect, we tend to go to the other extreme. So it's very good to have that in mind, that it's integrated, and we need to all do that integration. So in short, what am I saying? What is my view? My view is where your soils are acidic, first correct that chemical component. Because if your soil is at 4.2, lime it, bring it to where it's supposed to be, and integrate the organic. Because when you bring the organic, what are you doing? Increasing the buffering capacity, which means you're increasing the ability of the soil to resist the change. Sindio? So lime first. So I don't want to get to a point where we are being told lime is bad, no. And when she was talking about policies, fertilizers reaching to the last mile, fertilizers both inorganic and organic being subsidized, lime should be that part of that component, especially for our area. People who are here from Bungoma, Eldoret will mention, I think, I don't know why the one for Eldoret is, you said your soils are 4.5. Please, if you can get a liming project first, improve those pHs of your soil. We have enough lime in Kenya. We have enough. We don't have shortage of lime. So let's have a policy where we test the soils. We have enough soil testing facilities. You can even just test for pH alone first, and then correct that, and then bring all the integrated management. Organic fertilizers, if it's the conservation agriculture where you can. So the definition of integrated soil fertility management, it talks about the germplasm. You have to have the right seed. And then it talks about sources of nutrients, both organic and inorganic. And when you're talking about sources of nutrients, you have to remember the right amount, right type, right, we call them the 4R. Right type, right placement, right what? Anyway, but so like for example, for the NPKs, you have to know what am I buying in a bag. Si kwenda tu kusema nataka fertilizer. You need to know what am I buying. DAP iko na nini? Who can tell me what does DAP have? Yes? 1846. What does that mean? Do we know? It has 18%. Kwa mfuko moja iko na 18% ya nini? Ya nitrogen. Yes. Na iko na how many percent ya phosphorus? So that's, you need to understand that is what you are applying kwa eka moja, and that's what we have been doing. I don't know whether you'll allow me to do a small calculation. Juu umeniamsha. I don't know, but anyway, I think I've given my views.
Maybe you can interact with her a little bit more, especially when you have the fertilizer not reaching the smallholder farmers. Why isn't it in the small packs? Sindio? Even the inorganic, why isn't it? Why aren't they pushing for inorganic fertilizer also to go? You know, such things. So anyway, so that's an opening of a discussion. So yes, please. Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. You've talked about testing of the soils, and when we were going around the project, the farmers were really on the soil testing kit. They complained they can't reach, or the prices are high, and I think that was one of the points that were taken to the counties as MOUs, if they can get the testing kits available to them.
I think you bring a very good question, and I want to pose a question. And I also want to bring to your attention that I'm sure the person from the ministry knows that there is currently an ongoing project on soil mapping, a soil fertility mapping for the country, being supported by World Bank. Calro is the one who's running. Part of that project included taking an overview of all the labs in the country and in each counties to see what is lacking and how that can be improved. But in this sense, what they're trying to do is do a whole soil mapping analysis of the country, which will then inform how we do crop-specific fertilizer blends or recommendations. And it will also include recommendations for organic fertilizers. Now, my question is, if the farmer gets a soil testing kit, how is it going to help him if he does not have the knowledge on how to interpret that? So I think if we go and say every farmer needs to have a soil testing kit, then we also need to answer the other question of, you know, how do they use it? What do they need to know? Who gives them the recommendations? And I know there's this project on agripreneurs and all those things. But soil testing is very important, because at least if you do the initial soil testing, you know the status of your soil. And then you know what needs to be corrected. And then you can correct. And then you can also stagger how you do the soil testing. But those are very important questions to ask. I know at least now there's some project going on. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Daktari. For one of our neighboring counties, which is called Bungoma, they went ahead and they had a mobile. But I know some teething issues when it comes to rolling out for a long time. It has a challenge. Because we could not mesh up with them, Bungoma at times they are complicated. As Kakamega, what we did, this year we secure this last financial we secured simple pH meters for all the extension staff, so that at least apart from testing other nutrients like nitrogen and so on, at least we start with pH, so that ndio tunashangaa tuseme hii mchanga yako ngoja, so we'll know even others. We can take this now sample to a higher stage for details. But we found at least the farmer can be told by the officer not to give the farmer the pH meter, because it won't make any sense. It cannot be interpreted. So we've started there. Then when we get more money, we'll go the Bungoma way. Yes, we'll.
What is the next step?
Yeah.
So muna test soil pH, and ambiwa soil yake iko acidity. What are you doing for the next step?
Yes, that is why, because you see even the soil pH, which is the basic, farmers don't know. Where there is this talk that our soil acidic, but maybe it was, they just did some localized areas and found some farmers acidic. But now this is a farmer who has come to me and say, hey, niangalie mchanga yangu. So at least we know if we do that, then we have a recommendation that this land, this shamba needs to move to another level, so that we can tell the farmer we can afford then to take it either to Calro or to the nearest accredited lab. Yes. Yes. Yeah, yes, yeah, that is. Yeah, all this lime issue has been done because we have even partners who brought this lime to our stores to distribute to farmers. But now they don't know how much and even how to apply it. They need somebody to technically to be on site with the limited extension service providers. Again, you find the farmer again is stuck. And then we know, like in Koro, that is where I'm told it's a home of lime. Not very far from those sites, but again, the accessibility to get it from there at a cheaper price, but to carry it. Again, those are issues which are policy related, where counties need to really reflect and assist these farmers, because farmers at times they are stuck. If we don't bail them out, then they are stuck forever. Thank you.
With liming, I agree, you have to assist the farmers. But Kakamega, nimesikia mnafanya kazi mzuri. Tunaweza fanya na nini? Naweza wasaidia na mambo ya liming. There is also granulated lime.
Short-term solution, especially.
I did not say it. I said lime.
Just give me.
And then. Sawa.
You are advocating for pH, and pH is only a fraction if you look at the soil component and the soil destruction. And my cue, one of the worst solutions to our soil is lime. I've worked with farmers with 1 acre plan. There's a time 1 acre plan gave to farmers lime. And actually, it's as if they were also not sure what they were doing. So the farmers either overused or underused. So what were the results? There was a lot of striker. And then they were using another weed. Another weed came up. I think we call it Oparanya fertilizer weed. So, I want to be the access of soil testing.
It's important.
Yeah, it's important, but let's not trivialize it kupima pH. Tunataka, especially with the Kakamega County, instrumental. We recommended that you actually subsidize so that we have, because this is a period I'm going to take after getting my soil status. Nataka nikupe miaka ingine 3, nikifanya nini? Ikimprove. But now you are telling me nipime pH. The correct pH, yes, but impact might not be there. Let me answer him, because now he's just in fact, we are not going even the Bungoma side of the mobile. What we did in our budgeting, we saw that because of limited resources at times to beef up the issue of soil testing, in the Kakamega approach, apart from the staff having the pH meter, we want to outsource the service of soil testing, so that people like the ones we know, like crop nuts, are the ones we see doing that work. We engage them, and then they test for farmers. Now complete, like the way you would find in medical, complete blood hemogram. Here we now do a complete soil testing with all those nutrients in soil. But you'll agree with me that it is better even to have testing for one nutrient, but just say mchanga yangu is good or is bad. That is where it is scientific, and we need to get facts right. And then when he's giving testimonies about lime, he is pulling on his side. I've worked with Karl Kakamega, with Dr. Mbakaya, did the lime for farmers, the sugarcane farmers in Kakamega, especially Malava, and the sugarcane yields rose so high that now lime was the issue in Malava. So let's get things right. And I'm not antagonizing his opinion, because we've applied in his area and got that Oparanya weed. Could have been, let's just get factual. And that's why we have our Great Lakes University here. Where we find is an issue, we'll call them and they go on the ground and do these things so that now we get the things right. I'm not emotional, I'm just trying to respond.
No. So we are correcting. We are not only focusing on Lime. It's integrated. And when you do Lime, do it right with the right, knowledge. So that you don't over or under.
Thank you, Madam Lillian. I'm kindly waiting for your attention. Asante. Nataka kushukuru Director Agriculture Kakamega, ametuongoza vizuri akisema let's get things right. And I want to get things right for Bungoma. They are not complicated. Bungoma are straightforward people. The only issue that maybe might have happened, our capacity to carry out soil sampling and testing for 2 counties at the same time. Because we have a mobile clinic, and many a times we tell farmers, or farmers are advised to, because we have built the capacity of most of the farmers, how to do the sampling. So once they have done the sampling, they aggregate the soils at Mabanga FTC. So the mobile vehicle goes to Mabanga, they start doing the testing. Then they give out the results. Then some of the farmers, we had what we were calling as lead farmers. So they were taken through interpretation of the soils sampling results. Then we go and tell the farmers that your soil is like this. Even some of them were part of the team. I had 2 issues. Besides that, Madam Dr. Mercy, I was coming for clarification. When she was presenting, she talked of the cation exchange capacity. So I just wanted to ask, because she's an expert in that line, is there a relationship between carbon emission in relation to cation exchange capacity? Then maybe this one, because Director for Climate Change Bungoma, she's in the house. I intended to ask our brother, we are naitwa nani, Kabaya. Asante. My question is, there's an issue that has been disturbing, especially personal, mimi kama Rogers. I do a lot of tree nursery, and many a times I sell. We have a small organization, but there's some challenge that we are currently facing, getting a certificate from Kefri, because most of these organizations, we have tried to apply for tenders. They are tendering process, so they tell you, come with the certificate of clearance from KRA, come with the registration certificate, the PIN, and then KEF is also there. But now, when you look at this certificate, I tried to liaise with the Kakamega office, the KEFRI. They were saying, you come, we train you, you pay, then we give you the certificate. And you see, most of these farmers who have these tree seedlings, they are promoting, they're supporting the government to achieve the 15 billion tree cover. So I think one of the challenges that most of these farmers are having, especially now when they want to sell seedlings, maybe to an organization, and there's that restriction. And getting this thing, there's a cost in card, which most of these farmers don't have. Sasa wanauzia tu kwa soko tu jua kali. But getting the good market, that condition is there. I wanted to make a humble appeal. If the Department of Climate Change and Mitigation can support by maybe assuring farmers through the, because that is it's within the tree establishment. I think the issue of forestry is within the climate change issue, so that they ease the conditions for issuance of these certificates. Thank you.
My concern is on that liming. After you have been told to lime, some of these partners on the ground leave us more confused than ever before. Like in my area, maybe we have interacted with around 3 partners. The first one told us to spread the lime on the farm, then mix with the soil. The second one told us to be digging the maize holes, put the lime there, put the fertilizer there, weka seed. The third one ni 1 acre fund, ila amesema na walileta lime na wakaambia farmers, go and do whatever you can with it. So where do we get the correct information?
Thank you. My concern is also on lime, whereby if we apply lime on acidic soil, we find that we will bring up the pH. And at a time whereby, like my friend said, they applied lime and they brought something called the operant wheat. Now, at a situation whereby you have applied lime without having knowledge on the application rate, you have messed up, and the pH have come back to alkali. How can you bring it back to normal now?
You know, I'm very passionate about soil. And when it comes to soil matters, I like boil a little bit. So I'll just throw in a small class for free. So I requested for this, just for us to see, because there's somebody who talked about pH and how he's not seeing how it's relating to what we are doing, yeah? But pH is very important. Liming, very important. Organic carbon in the soil, very important, the most important. So if you look at this chart, and this is something that you need to be working with, it's like the Bible of everything. And you can see where the crop grows best. Normally, it's like 5.5 to about 7, right? Maybe ipite kidogo, vitu kama tomatoes, onions, some can survive at a higher pH. And that's something else that you need to know as a farmer or as a person who's working with farmers, that you need to know the type of crops that grow within this range, and those that grow within this range, and those that are very comfortable here. Yeah? So if you look at most nutrients, hebu angalia hizo nutrients. Where is the NPK? Ndio hizi hapa, si ndio? NPK iko hapo. K ndio potassium. I don't know why they decided to use K for potassium, but it's K. Okay. Sawa, ndio hiyo. Umeambiwa na soil scientist, it's K2O. So you're looking at the main nutrients. Those are the macro. You know macros? Hizo zenye zinahitajika na mimea. Niambie tu ukidestabilize pH yako kidogo, iende huku ama iende huku, what will happen? No absorption of NPK. That's why you find if you add DAP, you add what? And oh, okay, fine. Hata ameniwekea. So tumeona hizi. Kuna pH. Kwanza ni ya crop nuts. Crop nuts was my former employer. So you can yeah.
Trying to say here is, if your soil pH iko chini, nikuje nikuuzie fertilizer yangu, hata kama ni mzuri aje, nutrient use efficiency inaenda chini. So utakuwa umetupa pesa. Umenunua mfuko ya fertilizer, tumesema you need to know what you're buying. Iko na 18 units of what? N. Iko na 46 units of P2O5. And the plant needs that to grow. Na pia mchanga yako si iko na ingine. But sasa hiyo yenye umenunua, if you don't efficiently use it, si umeitupa. So if 50% of that goes, inamaanisha umetupa what? It's not being utilized. That's why we are focusing on integrated, because the organic aspect will come and do its thing. The chemical aspect. Alianza vizuri, chemical, physical, and biological. All those things have to work in together. So why we are really focusing on the liming? It's because tunajua the chemical aspect can be easily improved. And then we now bring all the other aspects together. Si ati tunasema tuna focus on only that, tunaacha hizi zingine nyuma. It's together. Ni pamoja. Now, but I agree with what he said. We need to give the farmers the right knowledge when it comes to lime. And that's why I keep saying, I think liming is something that needs to be done either at a national level or at a county level. Because that knowledge, we need either a county liming project so that we do it correctly, instead kuachia hiyo mkulima. I usually say liming is something that has to be done at that level, badala kuachia hiyo part ya mkulima. And then now, on the mkulima, now you remain on the integration of organic, inorganic, maintaining, soil cover and all that. But liming, I think, needs to be done at that level because of the confusion. Sasa unasikia mwingine anasema tufai kufanya lime because imetumika vibaya. Yeah, so I think, at a policy level, we need to think through. Yeah.
Okay, then also something else that needs to be understood is that there are different types of lime. So if you use the wrong type of lime for your pH that needs to be corrected differently, that is a problem. And that's why I like what Titus mentioned about pH, then what next? We need to take our soils for analysis. Because without analysis, you won't know if you need magmax or you need calcium carbonate. And the rates, yeah.
As a farmer, I have used lime without the knowledge of application. And my pH has gone up to 8. How? I have messed up and it has gone up to 8. How can it be regenerated back to the normal where crops can be grown well? That's my concern.
Maybe naongeza hii madam.
Doctor, please respond.
Nataka respond pamoja na hii. Okay. Hiyo lime mbili. Gani inatumika wapi na gani inatumika wapi?
Thank you very much. Let me start with the question that was directly to me, then I'll try to respond to the other one. There was, I think, a question on if there is any relationship between CEC and, were you talking about carbon sequestration? Or carbon emissions? Wewe sasa naona ni Daktari Rogers. Good. Now, there is within the soil, let me stand. Ions we need to attract. It attract positive. So because we are talking about the soil organic matter, which is now the carbon. If it is within the soil, it will attract and we are saying it is negative, it is going to attract the positively charged ions. So while we emphasize on having soils with very good soil organic matter is specifically for that, so that they are able to be they are able to retain nutrients. That is the positively charged nutrients within the soil matrix, so that they are not lost to the environment. So the relationship between CEC and carbon is that the more carbon you have within your soils, the more CEC you'll also have. Have I lost you? Yeah, maybe unless
Abarinu. Chemistry nyiko hapo ndani ni ya kwamba kwa carbon inakuwa negatively charged. Inakuwa minus, si ndio? Na ndani ya mmea kuna maji. Maji iko na minus upande mmoja na upande mwingine positive. Sawa sawa. Na most of those elements zenye zinachukuliwa kama copper, kama potassium, kama nitrogen, most of them ni positive. Sindio? Sindio? Sasa wakati hiyo carbon iko nyingi, ina attract upande wa negative wa maji, nayo mimea ina attract upande wa positive wa hizo elements. Na hiyo ndio nini? Nutrients. Mmenielewa? Mnapotea sana. Ions. Sasa hiyo naomba madam aiweke kwa higher scale of training. Ni ngumu.
I'm thinking so, and this is soil chemistry, which is not easy, not here, not in class. So, but there's a soil chemistry that may not be too necessary for us. What is important to know is that for real, the more carbon you have within the soil, so that is the soil organic matter, the more carbon you have sequestered. It is not in the environment, now it is within the soils, and that's what we are concentrating on. Now, we were talking about okay, so what I was saying is that when it's many things, I think some may even have forgotten, but maybe the CDAs here can assist. When the soils have become alkaline, of course, one thing I remember from class is that you can, you definitely, the easiest again, you use acidifying fertilizers. So you use the acidifying fertilizers, it's easy, we can access it. But I just finished. So acidifying fertilizers, elementary sulfur, aluminium, those are things that bring down the pH. So if you have put anything within the soil that contains that, then you can have your soils back. But don't take them too high, actually. That's why soil testing is recommended.
So thank you very much. My colleague from Kakamega has really woken me up. And I just want to inform him that we are children of the same mother, but different fathers. So you might not understand us in a way, but we are good. So I think we have the mobile testing machines in Bungoma. There are two, in fact, not just one. And we've really been assisting counties, neighboring counties like yours, and even Trans Nzoia County, to do their soil testing. The machines have gone as far as Tanzania to assist the Tanzanians. So maybe that's why you find us complicated in a way. But the testing is done at subsidized prices. At times, during when there are field days, the charge is around 500, but under normal conditions, it's 800. So under our situations, the fee is not high. But I wanted to go to my colleague and explain. He's really complaining about having a nursery. He doesn't have a carefully certificate. And I know the reason as to why you are saying is it's because we were giving tenders to people who will do rehabilitation of rivers, who will do rehabilitation of dams. And just to inform you, lodgers, we have taken care of you, because in those tenders we insisted that we have to start with the nurseries that are within the county before those people who want the tenders can go outside the county. So you can be sure your trees will not even be enough the moment they start going for the varieties of trees that we have insisted on. You will not even have enough to supply. So I can assure you, we are really concerned to make sure that our farmers, especially the regenerative agriculture farmers, if you have nurseries in the county, tafadhali,